Hello guys. So I've been going for a while because I've been concentrating on my own universe and shaping my own reality and not letting someone else determine my reality for me, okay? Now I want to talk about this. Right now, especially when you have a free time, it's good to really crucially strengthen your inner self, strengthen your spirituality, improve your spiritual strength, especially for those who have nothing but time on their hands. Because I still go to work every day. I work in a SNF, that is a skilled nursing facility, and I work as a therapist. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor or a CNA. Nothing like that. I'm a therapist, so I'm not in too much contact with a lot of the patients and a lot of the staff. But what I want to say is that if some people are still working and a lot of people were laid off, unfortunately, and I'm be honest with you, I really feel bad for people who were laid off and they they got to worry about how they're going to pay their rent, their bills, their car notes and all that stuff, especially if they have landlords and stay in apartments and could have been evicted or something like that. No heart at all. Because in most cases, I read where in most cases, a lot of times these landlords can get at least six months, can at least allow 6 months of not having to pay rent, especially at a time like this where it's completely out, where they think is completely out of their control, because you've been trained, we all been trained to see the world as this is it and that's how it's going to be, and we got to go by what a certain book says, and this is the times, and that's just how it's going to be. We were programmed to learn that we have to accept what comes at us. We weren't taught that we could create our own realities. We weren't taught that. We were taught that it's just only one reality that exists, and we have to just deal with the cards that we've been dealt. That's what we've been taught. And so at this crucial time while all these people are in a hot mess, it's unfortunately because I've already had my time of going through that. Thank goodness it wasn't during a time like this that it was during like 2 years ago, so I can kind of understand what those people going through, and they have a right to be afraid, because it's not the virus they're afraid of. They're homeless at the wrong time. They're homeless at the wrong time, and they have a right to have some fear about that. I really, I kind of went left. But I want to say this. I'm tired of people telling people not to be in fear. Some people might have a right to be in fear. And another thing, fear needs to be recognized as an emotion just as well as gratitude, just as well as love, just as well as joy. Fear is an emotion as well. Do you experience the totality? You are a whole being. And by you being a whole being, that means you might experience some anger, you might experience some fear, you might experience some despair, because you are a whole person. That doesn't mean stay in fear, no. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm glad I went through what I went through 2 years ago and not right now, because this is not a good time to be going through that mess. This ain't the right time for that. This ain't the right time to be evicted and having to find a place to live and trying to go around homeless shelters when people on curfew and all of that stuff. But I done wasted too much time kind of going left. But I get that some of those people, why they might be in fear, I get it, and I'm not gonna judge them, because that is scary as heck. The virus, that's scary. That's more scary than the actual virus they trying to push around. Now this is what I'm gonna say about humanity though, because I just wanted to sidebar with that. I feel like at this point humanity deserves what it gets, and I'm gonna say why. There's too many people that claim to be spiritual. Too many people that claim to be spiritual to allow this to go on. And I know you have some people in certain religions that feel like this is written, and so they're just gonna allow whatever happens because they feel like they're supposed to just let things happen because it's written. I get that, but I'm gonna tell you something. So they just, whatever happens to them, it's just going to happen to them. If they get put in concentration camps, that's what they're going to be put in, because they feel like they just have to let it happen, because that's what they learn in their religion. So, I mean, okay, but I want to talk about some of these experts on these channels, with these big channels that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and even if you don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, these people that are experts in the metaphysics, these people who are supposed to be experts in magic and all of that stuff, you know, crystals and chakras and, you know, different planets, you know, and astrology and all this stuff, and, you know, consciousness. But it seems like to me, and I do realize I stayed off a lot of their pages because I don't like, I'd rather look at mukbangs than to look at a lot of them spiritual channels, because you don't want that all in your head. A lot of stuff these people talking about, you don't really want that all in your head like that. You're better off looking at somebody eat a seafood boil or something. That's better for your head than looking at a lot of these doggone spiritual channels, you know. But what I was gonna say is that, especially for these experts, okay, because the experts in the metaphysical world claim that they are not sheeple. They are not sheeple, okay? That's why it's mostly I'm kind of on them. But why is it at this crucial time they don't really have an answer? What is with all this knowledge and experience they have, and they putting hexes on people, and they putting curses on people, and they manipulating energy so people can behave and act crazy? Because a lot of times when people act a plumb fool, it's because somebody else done mess with their head, manipulating energy, okay? And but why is it that at this crucial time, all these people, these big pages that tell you what to do to raise your frequency, all of these big pages, all of these, why is it at this point they don't have answers for this crucial time? Why don't they have an answer to usurp whatever's going on, to completely disintegrate the people, the people that's in cahoots with this agenda? Why aren't they, you know, why haven't they come up with an answer? Why haven't they come up with an answer? Okay, I was listening to a guy, just very briefly, okay? So what these folks say don't really bother me, because I kind of saw it coming some time ago. I saw this coming. So what they saying now is no surprise to me at all. But you know, the title of a live that he was doing is called 18-month lockdown. Trump plans to do an 18-month lockdown, say goodbye to 2020. And what I have to say is this, because the live is still going on, and I kind of just went back to the beginning, because I don't know what he's saying now, because I had to go all the way back to the beginning after he done been on for over an hour, so I can see what he said at the beginning, so I can hear what he said at the beginning. So I'm still going to listen to see. I just want to see what his solution is, at least for his soul group, right? Because I know it'd be suicide to get on YouTube and talk about what you plan to do and how you plan to combat this in a spiritual way. I know that would be suicide to do something like that. Sorry, I'm trying to have to be careful because they done closed off a road. So now I got to be careful with how I drive. Okay, let me just go around. So let me concentrate right quick. Anyway, so, you know, we're talking about Trump and his 18-month lockdown and what they plan to do to people and all of this stuff. My thing is this. Okay, so you done told everybody what's going on. Do you at least have a solution for your soul group? Do you at least plan on having a virtual or interactive get-together online or something to get together in some kind of meditation and some kind of prayer and some kind of whatever you want to do? If you want to light candles and set an intention on something specific of how you want the reality to be created, how you want your realities to be created in order to combat this. Because we create our realities, okay? We create our realities. We live in a holographic system. And a lot of the stuff that we see through our eyes and in our sockets are just pretty much spectrums of light. It's not what's really out there. So we are in an illusion anyway. You know, we pretty much hallucinate our reality. And that's why I talked about before, choosing your reality, choosing your world that you want to be in, choosing the reality that you want to be in, because it's your reality anyway. It's your universe, and you can choose how you want to perceive the world, and how you want to perceive the world don't necessarily have to involve the government. The problem is only individual people are doing that. And so when you have so many folks that don't come together and only individual people are doing it, then it's not going to be a big change, okay? Because for the most part, people are just accepting what's happening. People are just accepting what's happening. Now, whether the virus is real, whether I personally think it could be just radiation, because people are getting sick, though. It could be radiation, though. Who knows? I don't want to be one to be so reckless to say what's real and what's not. I really don't want to be that reckless. I know people have showed proof of going in some of these hospitals, going to some of these ERs, and going to some of these lines where you supposedly should be getting, where they have lines where people are supposed to get tested for COVID, but then they go out into these areas and it's completely empty, not a soul in sight. But yet and still you hear on the news every single day that there's so many cases. But one person took their camera phone and walked inside of these places, these ERs, these places where you go get tested, and not a soul in sight. Yet so many cases of the coronavirus, you know. But I don't want to be reckless to say what's real and what's not and put stuff in your head when I myself don't have any proof. But I do know that whatever's going on is not for your highest good. And this is the time, especially when you have nothing but time on your hands, to strengthen yourself spiritually. To strengthen yourself spiritually, because the reason why I say this, because there is no unity among the masses. There is no unity. So if it was more unity among the masses, people could get together and they can unite as one, and they can they can combat this thing spiritually, because this is a spiritual thing, okay? It doesn't really do any good for people to want to get out and protest, because they'll just get locked up somewhere, okay? I wouldn't try to combat this type of thing physically, because you would get locked up, you would get beat down, or you might just get shot. But definitely this is spiritual warfare. And so going back to these metaphysical experts that I keep seeing on YouTube, these masters and all of this energy work, what is a solution? Are you having any well, I know you're not supposed to have gatherings, but at least unite online. Unite online. That's another thing. They stopping the gathering so people can't get together and agree. So they can't get together and unite as one. Okay, but you can still kind of do it. You can do it online. You can get in private pages and get your group of people to come together as one, and to meditate, and to and do it a certain time. It could be every day if you have the time, or every week. And some stuff, it will be some changes in the energy. It will be changes, major changes in the energy. Okay? Of course, things like that have to be done privately, because too many people know about it. That's why I say, unfortunately, this type of stuff is going to be done more individually than people come together. Because you can't even let too many people know, if you do plan on having to get together, online that is, because you can't gather together. But if you do plan on having to get together and combating this thing spiritually, okay, you can't even let that many people know, because there's so many people who are agents. There's so many people who are agents. There's so many people who will tell your secrets that you can't even do it. It's dangerous, okay? So it's bad that it's gotten to that point. But that's why I say humanity deserves what it gets, because it's too many people that are skilled in the metaphysical world. There's too many people who are skilled at energy manipulation to not have a solution for what's going on. Okay, and a lot of them might have a solution. They might not be crazy enough to say it on YouTube. Who knows? I would hope that they are getting together, at least doing something behind closed doors. A lot of those people are doing things individually, because folks are so messed up that they cannot come together. Now that's in the United States, where folks are so messed up they don't come together. And a lot of people in the United States, even them who are experts in the metaphysical world, in a way they are still matrixy. They are still all about the matrix. Okay, a lot of them still watch a lot of TV. A lot of them still listen to what's on the radio. And so when you still have a lot of that in your system, it's kind of hard to be powerful, you know, because you still are somewhat controlled by your ego. And when you're controlled by your ego, you are controlled by the matrix, you know. The key is really getting out the matrix. And when I'm talking about the matrix, I'm talking about your head, getting out of your head and grounding into your body, you know, letting your heart, you know, letting your mind be a servant to your heart. Your heart should be your brain and not your head. Okay? That's what I mean by getting out the matrix. I'm not talking about not working and staying in the woods, even though that's not a bad idea right now. But staying in the woods, and I know people call that getting out the matrix. No, the matrix is in your head. And when you get out your head, you are out of the matrix. So don't worry about all these dimensions and third and fourth and fifth and sixth dimension and all that stuff. Don't worry about that stuff either. Just worry about strengthening, getting stronger spiritually, you know. But yeah, I just want to talk about real quick, and I'm going to be finished, about just my the disappointment in humanity as a whole, because this shouldn't be allowed to go on, okay? And in some places it's not as bad as it was, okay? In some places it's calmed down, but it's getting real bad in the United States. And I'm more disappointed in the United States than around the world. I'm more disappointed in the United States, because you have so many people who read tarot cards. You have so many people, even Christians, even with Christianity. If you come together and like I said, because they into all of this social distancing, obviously you can't meet up, but it's such thing as the internet. Okay, and even with that, if they come together and unite, even online, in agreement, earnestly, you know, it will still be some major changes with that, because there's a power in intention, regardless of what you believe in. So, you know, they can even make changes. But it seems like a lot of people are not really, you know, willing to come together and help each other, you know. And it's like I said, it's unfortunate, because the best way you can come together is online. The best way you can come together is online. But you know, it's unfortunate that humanity, especially in the United States of America, they have not figured out yet that they need to remove their ego as best as possible. They need to get out of their ego as best as possible. They need to learn to unite. They need to learn to put a lot of their differences aside, especially if it's about somebody's color or whatever it is, you know. People have not really learned, even at this time, how necessary it is to end a lot of this separation that's going on right now. They don't even see that that's necessary. And that's why a lot of people in the United States is going to get what it gets. It's going to happen, okay? Oh, I'm sorry if y'all heard that. I burped. Now, it's not going to happen in everybody's reality that's in the United States, though. Because I told you, you perceive your reality. And when you understand how you perceive your own reality, and you understand you can control it, and like I say, a lot of you guys got enough free time to work on controlling your reality. Write down what you want to see in the world. Do you want to see somebody take over and lock you down for 18 months, and then somebody come knock on your door and tell you need to go to this place and go to this place and go to that place? You need to have a vaccine or whatever. Do you want that in your reality? Do you want to see different reality? If you don't know how to do those things, because I'm still learning myself, this is the time to practice those things now more than ever. Because when this blows over, if it ever does, it's going to come back again, and it's going to come back so badly you won't even have time to blink your eye. So now is the time to get as spiritually powerful as possible, especially when you ain't got nothing else to do, when you ain't got nothing else to do but just sit at home. Okay? You know, and if you got a place to live, you're not just unemployed trying to look for a place to stay, because that's going to mess with your spirituality. Oh, okay, thank you. That's going to mess with your spirituality. Two, if you don't got evicted and you don't know where you're going to sleep, where you're going to lay your head, that'll mess with your spirituality. That'll mess you up real bad. Okay, that's why I said this is not a good time to be going through something like that. But anyway, yeah. So that's it. That's it right now. Try to avoid listening to too much garbage that does not serve your highest good. I understand that you have to be grounded. Even if you're working on strengthening your spirituality, you still are going to have to ground yourself. You're still going to have to be balanced. Sorry, I felt something. I do understand all of that, but I understand that. So, even with working on your spirituality, you got to remain grounded. You have to remain balanced. You can't be in the clouds all the time, okay? But now is a more important time than ever to strengthen your spirituality. Choose the reality you want to live in, whether you want to write it down, and after you write it down, you meditate on it, however you decide to meditate or however you do things. And that's kind of how you move. That's kind of how you move through parallel worlds like that. And you make the necessary changes to yourself to make sure that happens, okay? So the best way to do that, though, is to work on yourself. Work on some things that you didn't have time to work on before, that you didn't notice about yourself before, that need some working on. So the best way to do that is just work on perfecting yourself. Work on perfecting your inner self. Work on things like that, and you will automatically, move up. Your world that you see on the outside will change. The more that you work on yourself, the world that you see on the outside is going to change. And all of this stuff that people saying is happening. And beware of YouTube, okay? Because everybody is not on the same timeline. Everybody is not in the same parallel world on YouTube, okay? So when you hear somebody on YouTube talking about what's going on in their neck of the woods, okay, it's good to just, if you want to hear it or whatever, but that doesn't mean that is your reality. So be careful listening to a lot of what these people got to say on YouTube and what's going on in their cities and all of this stuff. If you don't see it happening in your world, I suggest you not pay. It's good to be aware, but I suggest that you don't get too involved in what somebody else is saying. Try not to get too involved into what somebody else say that they are seeing in their backyard. If you're not seeing it in your backyard, these people might have said it's been going on in their backyard for like 2 weeks. But here it is 2 weeks for you and you haven't seen it yet in your backyard. Then try not to take in too much of that type of energy, okay? Because what it is, if you take in too much of that energy from somebody else talking about what's happening in their cities and in their neck of the woods, and you get too involved and you give too much of your energy to what they're saying, you're going to become your world is going to become a part of their world. Because we all have our own realities. We all perceive the world. We all perceive our own realities, okay? And if you get too involved into what somebody else is saying is happening around them, and it's not happening to you, then it can start happening to you because you gave a lot of your energy to somebody else. And by doing that, your reality, their reality became a part of your reality because you continued to listen to them. Okay? And you became emotionally involved in what they had to say. Okay? So that's all I want to say. I might listen briefly for like 5 to 10 minutes every now and then, not even every day, every now and then, about what's going on with this pandemic. But I don't put too much of my energy on it. It's not that I don't think it's real. It's not that but at the same, you don't want to. You got to find a way. Unless you're going to sit back and be passive and just allow things to happen and say whatever happens, happens. Okay, if you're that kind of person, don't worry about nothing. Because if you're going to die, you're going to die tomorrow. You're going to let life happen anyway. So you don't need to worry about it. But for those who know that you can't control your realities, I would only pay enough attention just to stay informed, and I will only stay informed enough to be able to do something to combat it, right? You stay informed just enough so you can know what you're going to work against, how you're going to combat this type of energy from coming into your world, okay? So I listen just enough for that. But other than that, you know, not enough to get into it and get emotionally involved in it and all that stuff, you know, taking it in. A lot of people are taking this stuff in, and it's going to mess with their realities, okay? Ooh. But anyway, that'll be it, and I'll talk to you soon.